So we've won the project. We're moving to the project kind of startup section at this top. What are the first 3 questions you ask your client before you do any design work?
This is like the fun part of the project, because gloves are off, everybody's kind of visioning. I think at least for me, it's always establishing expectations. What's the end goal? What are we hoping for? What's the vision here that the whole team's gonna essentially buy into? Again, inevitably with these projects, and almost every project, it's budget, making sure we know as a team clearly like what that budget's allocated for. Lots of times it's comes up and they've forgotten about a lot of the site work and retention and permitting fees, and some of these soft costs are going to go into that final project budget number that they'll assume is all included, and the team could assume the same. I think it's really just setting that standard for truly what that budget's allocated. I think out of those 2, and the biggest one I can think of as well is just as far as the site goes, parking is a huge issue with all these projects, and access to the front door. It's, again, understanding on a high level just what that master plan flow is going to be to better their use, their staff, their volunteers.
Yeah, and one thing we often do as we start our visioning sessions is to just ask some really simple, kind of break the ice questions, like what is one word that you would use to describe your church to a new guest who might be coming? And typically we'll get answers like, we're friendly, we're loving, we're giving, or we might be very strong on Bible-centric studies, or whatever it may be. We want to grasp that character right from the start and understand how the vision of who they are as a church is uniquely them. And so even though we'll get similar answers from different churches, we also get some uniqueness from each one. And that's what we're trying to tap into. Another thing that we typically try to understand is something we call their sacred cows, or their hot buttons. Are there issues that would become divisive as we go through the studies for them, design studies? Are there certain things that people say in an existing church campus? Are there some things that if it changes, it will divide the congregation? We need to know that early on, and typically either stay away from it or find ways to persuade them that they need to do that, and bring people on board. And so that knowledge from the beginning is vital to what we're doing. I think the other thing we try to find out right at the beginning is what we call success factors for the study we're doing. So let's say it's a master plan study that we're doing. What are the success factors that they're looking for? In other words, does this, say, help them sell the idea to the congregation? Or is a success factor that they'll be able to make the best use of their existing buildings? Success factor might mean that they'll be able to have the space that will serve their children's ministry that they just don't have right now. We need to know that, because then we'll make sure we hit that strongly as we go through the process. So it's really what we're trying to do is find out what is meaningful and valuable to them, and that'll help us move forward.
Joe kind of mentioned earlier, it's part of that DNA term word, and as a studio we talk about, and it's just understanding who they are, who their brand is. That way we're as engaged as they are. It's kind of the same way. What we take for granted, they don't do the same, and we're all on the same page, and can kind of follow that through on every aspect of the project.
And sometimes we become more immersive than just talking about it, such as I know that one time when the choir was a real important element in the design of their worship center, I actually joined the choir for a week and rehearsed with them. I actually sang with them in the worship, and
You have video of that?
no, that would be cool.
That would be cool. We're taping now.
But that
Go ahead.
that lasted with them through the rest of the project.
That's great.
I didn't do that to create an impression. It was just to immerse myself in, what is it like if their choir is so important? What is it like to be part of their choir? But
Chuck,
it
we're
was
doing
still
a
years
homeless
later they
shelter
were
here if
saying,
you're interested.
What was that, David?
So we're doing a homeless shelter in Charleston if you're interested.
I'll be there in a minute.
All right.
But it was so funny because for years later they would still say, "Oh, remember that day you sang with the choir?" Going, "Yeah, that was great," and they never forgot.
If the first questions are some of the ones that Chuck mentioned, like who are you, what are you about, that's the comment that I think I've heard numerous times from pastors and churches after the fact is we knew we found the right people when first session or 2 sessions that we had, they didn't talk at all about buildings. Their entire focus on what are we like, what do we do for ministry, what is our mission, what is our vision, and that shows by listening and by asking simple questions that give you lots of information back from them, shows that you're invested in what they're about, not coming in with something that you're trying to achieve on your own.
Them, yeah.
And that's a great comment. That goes back to even our interview strategy, and we try to limit how much. They've seen our website, they know us by name. Essentially, in this market, it's getting quickly to what they want, and that's when the dialogue starts to get exciting and interactive. It starts to become more about them and us hearing that than the accolades and the strength that we have as a team. I mean,
That's right.
they understand that, and it's great when that starts to shift when it does become an advisory role of their needs.